This is the STAAR, State of Texas Assessment of Academic Readiness, Lesson 18, Slope as Rate of Change. We're going to examine in this lesson slope as rate of change using three types of methods, from equations, from tables, and graphs. And then at the end we're going to have 5 problems that you can check for your understanding. Every linear function is characterized by a constant rate of change. The rate of change is equal to the ratio of change in dependent variable over the change in independent variable. On a graph, this ratio is called slope. Recall that the slope of the line is the ratio of vertical change to the horizontal change. On a graph, vertical change represents change in the dependent variable, and horizontal change represents change in the independent variable. To find the slope, divide the vertical change between any 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, by the horizontal change between them. Here we have the slope equation. Sometimes you'll see this called M, standing for slope. And one way I like to do this is to use a graphical organizer format of this formula. If you just have a table with an x column on the left, y column on the right, and you put the first point x1, y1 like this, and then our second point below x2, y2, and you subtract, and on the right side you're going to have y2 minus y1, and the left you're going to have x2 minus x1, and then you divide the right side by the left side. What you have is essentially the same formula. And the slope, another way I like to do this verbally, is slope. Okay, it's the answer to the question okay, how much does y change when x is increased by 1, or just we can say 1 unit. Okay, you answer this question, you have what the slope is. Next, determining the slope from equations. To find the slope from equation, you can find 2 data points and use the formula for slope, or you can rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form. And that's the one I really like to use most when I can. And you have y equals mx plus b. And so this m, this coefficient of x, which is m, is the slope. And plus b, well, this b is the y-intercept. And we're going to examine the y-intercept more deeply in future lessons upcoming. STAAR tip: recall the slope-intercept form equation y equals mx plus b. The coefficient m represents the slope while b represents the y-intercept. That's what I just mentioned. Example 1, find the slope of the graph of the equation 3y equals x plus 21. And there are 2 methods given. I'm just going to write 3y equals x plus 21. And what you're trying to do in these kinds of situations is solve for y. If we isolate y by itself, we'll be able to solve this. And what is this 3 doing to this y? Well, it's multiplying by y. And what do we need to do to undo the multiplication of 3? We need to divide by 3. If we divide by 3 on the left side, we have to divide by 3 each term on the right side. So we have 3 over 3 cancel on the left side. We have y is equal to x over 3, which is going to be 1/3 x, and then 21 over 3 is 7. So this coefficient here of x is our m, which is our slope. So that is our answer. Now in method 1, in this graphic, what they used here is they used two different numbers, 0 for x and 3 for x, and then use the slope formula below. I like solving for the equation if you can. It'll be quicker. Quick check 1. Find the slope of the graph of the equation 2y equals 3x plus 10. So we rewrite this 2y equals 3x plus 10. And again, what is this 2 doing this y? It's multiplying. So if we divide by 2, we have cancellation short 2. We have y equals 3 halves x plus 10 over 2 is 5. So this 3 over 2 is our m, which is our slope, just from an equation. Now we have this one. What is the slope of the graph of the equation? 1/4 y. So we have 1/4 y plus 3/4 equals x. And this time, instead of multiplying by a number, we're dividing by a number, or dividing by 4. So if we multiply this whole equation by 4, we'll end up with 4 times 1/4 y plus 4 times 3/4 is equal to 4x. And 4 over 4 cancel here and here. So we have y plus 3 equals 4x. Now we can solve for y by subtracting 3, but we should already know that our m equals slope, which equals 4. So that's our slope. And on this left one here, 1a, we have our slope of 3 over 2, or 1.5. Next, determining slope from a table or graph. Find 2 points and use the definition of slope. Another way to determine the slope from a graph is to use the fact that slope equals rise over run. So if we just pick out 2 points, and here a point that's oftentimes easy to pick up here would be a y-intercept, and it would be this point here, 0,7. And then if we go over here, we have the point 5,3. So x value 5, y value 3. And we can make a table like we did earlier, x, y. So we put 0,7 and then 5,3. And if we subtract from each side, we have 3 minus 7 is -4, and 5 minus 0 is 5. So our m is going to be our right hand over left, which is going to be -4 over 5. So that's going to be our slope, -4/5. Next, a quick check 2. Find the slope of this line. Well, we can pick out 2 points. We got a graph here, 0,6. And we got to be careful to make sure we're right at the corner where the graph touches right through the corner of the grid. So we have 0,6 up here, and then our point at the right is going to be 6,2. Now, one thing you look for is that if the slope of the line is decreasing, this is going to be a slope of less than 0. So you're not going to have a positive number. Our correct answer is going to be a negative number. So let's go work this out. We have the points 0,6, and then we have 6,2, and if we subtract on the right side, we have 2 minus 6, which is -4, and on the left side we have 6 minus 0, which is 6. So our m is going to be equal to -4 over 6, which is going to simplify to 2/3. So that's going to be our slope. And yes, we do have a negative number because the slope is less than 0. Now this one on the right, we have this table. So we're going to choose 2 points. And 14 minus 10, that's going to be 4 on the right side. Left side, we have 10 minus 0, which is 10. So our m is going to be 4 over 10, which simplifies to 2/5. And this is going to be our slope for this table here. Again, we're given the slope of the line containing the point shown. So we have to be told this is a line to make sure we get this right. And decimalized, this would be 0.4. Okay, next we're going to go over 5 problems that review what we've covered so far. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause. I recommend you pause the video, work it out, and then restart the video, see if you got it right. Okay, I hope you pause. Let's go over this. What is the slope of the line containing the data points shown in the table? So we can, as we've done in these other examples, draw between 2 points, little arrows or V's. We have 7 minus 1, which is 6 on the right side. We have 2 minus 1, which is 1 on the left side. So our m is going to be our right-hand side, change on the right-hand side, over our change on the left-hand side, which is going to be 6. So our correct answer is D. And you might remember back to the initial thing I started explaining, that what is the slope? It's the answer to the question, how much does y change when x is increased by 1? We can see exactly what this is, that we increased x by 1 unit from 1 to 2, and y went up 6. So that's how you could use that. Next, 2, pause the video, work it out, then play the video and see if you got it right. Okay, find the slope of the linear function. And we have, it's actually a linear equation. And we have negative x equals 2y minus 6. I'm just going to add this 6 to both sides here to get rid of the 6 on the right side. And so 6 minus 6 cancel. So we have negative x plus 6 is equal to 2y. And next, if we divide this equation by 2, we're going to get negative x over 2 plus 6 over 2 equals 2y over 2. And we cancel out the 2 over 2, and we have left negative 1/2 x, and 6 over 2 is 3, equals y. So this is our coefficient of x when we solve for y, and so therefore our slope is going to be this one right here, negative 1/2. Next, problem 3. Pause the video, work out the problem, see if you got it right. Okay, what is the slope of the linear function shown in the following graph? Again, we can pick out 2 points. Again, our function, okay, function is decreasing, so slope is less than 0. And to evaluate decreasing, increasing, you have to evaluate from left to right. So you know we're going to have a negative number. Eliminating answer choices A and C. Now to pick out the points and get this thing exactly, we have the point here 0, 3, and then we look for where the grid is touched by the graph perfectly. And it looks like this is pretty close here. This point here looks like 6, 2. And so if we make out a table, we have 0, comma, I said 0, comma 3. No, that's not right. It's going to be 0, comma 4. Right? Because that's 2, 4, 6, 8. I misread that somehow. Anyway, we fixed it in time. So we got 0, comma 4. And then below here we have 6, comma 2. And we, as we've done earlier, we're going to take 2 minus 4. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And then on the left side, we have 6 minus 0, or 6. So our m is going to be negative 2 over 6, which simplifies to negative 1/3. Now, one thing you can alternatively do, instead of subtracting like top from bottom here, let's say that you wanted to, you subtract in a different direction. You took 4 minus 2 on the right side and got 2. Then the left side you'd have 0 minus 6, or negative 6. Well, m would be, in this case, 2 over negative 6, which would still simplify to negative 1/3. So it doesn't matter which way you subtract, just as long as you do it the same way on each side of the center line of the table. So our correct answer for this one is D, negative 1/3. 4. Now, which line of the graph has a slope of 3/2? 3 over 2. Now, 3 over 2 is a number that's greater than 1. And a line with a slope of 1 looks like this dashed line I'm now drawing, like this. Okay, perfect. That's pretty. So this will be m equals 1. And so we know that the answer can't be T, because that's less than 1, so we cross off answer choice J. And next we have 3 choices, Q, R, and S, for actually just problem-solving strategy-wise. Of these 3 remaining possible right answers, my idea would be to take this middle one, because when we calculate this out, we're going to get the right answer, or we could tell if the thing's going to be Q or S, depending on its size. So let's go ahead and evaluate this answer choice R, and we have a point here at 0, comma 0, and then we go up the center line here, and we'll go up here to this, it looks like 4, comma 8. So I'm going to write that in, 4, comma 8. So the 2 points we have here to consider are, we have 0, comma 0, and we have 4, comma 8. And we go ahead and subtract. We get 8 minus 0, which is 8. On the left side we get 4 minus 0, which is 4. So m is equal to 8 over 4, which equals 2. We need a slope of 3 over 2. So R is not going to work because of that. And between the remaining choices, line S and line Q, S is going to have to be the right answer, because it's going to be less than 2. So 3/2 is less than 2. Therefore, S is correct answer. Okay, and then we can work out, if we work this out and took 2 points on here, we could take this point, 0, 0, and this is the point, what is it, 4, 6? So we would have our, yeah, I got to write it differently. Got to write the point 4, comma 6 like it should be. Here's 4, 6. So we have 6 on the right side, 4 on the left side. So our m is equal to 6 over 4, which simplifies to 3/2. Okay, the last one, determine the slope of the line. And I pause the video and see if you get it right. Okay, first point, 0, 2. A lot of times these y-intercepts are going to be easier to find out. And then we look for another point, and it's hard to kind of see them a little bit. We have this, looks like -2, -4. So I put here -2, -4. And we just place these in a table like we've done earlier. We have 0, 2, and below we'll put -2, -4, and then we just subtract. Now again, one thing I didn't do like we did earlier, if you draw this perfectly diagonal line, we see two things, that the slope is going to be greater than 1 and it's going to be positive. So these numbers like answer choices D and C are not going to be correct. Okay, back to our numbers. -4 minus 2 is going to be -6. And on the left side, we have -2 minus 0 is -2. So M is going to be our change in y, which is -6, divided by our change in x, which is -2, which simplifies to 3. So our correct answer for this is going to be B. I hope this lesson has been helpful to you. You might need to get some more practice on this, but we've examined how to determine slope from equations, from tables, and from graphs. Good luck, and thanks for viewing.